Where are you going at this hour? Thu looked at me, softly asking. I just went for a little walk. Why are you like that? I stammered slightly. Then Ni's voice called out, Min has been looking for you for a while. You two go inside. I'm going to sleep at my friend's. Thu and I returned to our room. Passing Ni, I avoided eye contact, feeling a little embarrassed. As soon as we were back in the room, remembering that fleeting moment earlier, I gently embraced Thu, giving her soft kisses. We stayed close all night, but in my head, that fleeting image remained. In the early morning, I woke up and looked at Thu lying beside me. I quietly took my phone and took a commemorative photo, then quickly put it away. I gently kissed her forehead, then her neck and shoulder. Thu softly stirred awake. Why aren't you sleeping? Aren't you? I gently embraced Thu, giving her soft kisses, a warm feeling. I softly whispered to her. Thu softly asked me, Now that you've with me, will you? I smiled, leaned down, and gave her a warm kiss, softly replying. Thu smiled and gently hugged and kissed me. We stayed close in tender moments. When dawn broke, we gently parted, marking the end of our time together. I took her to her final exam. She sat behind me, gently holding on to me. We both looked into the distance, lost in our thoughts about the future of our relationship. My name is Min, and I'm currently a first-year university student in Cantho. My hometown is Kiengyang, and after graduating high school, I came to Cantho to continue my education. The story begins in high school. I met a girl named Thu when I was in 10th grade. Fate led us to be in the same class. Before that, when I was in my old school in 10th grade, I had a girlfriend named Nu. When I moved to this new school, the long distance led to our breakup. Thu was a fairly tall girl, around 1.70 with a balanced figure. She had a very alluring, natural scent. Many times when I was near her, I would secretly inhale the fragrance from the back of her neck, a feeling that was uniquely stirring. Thu sat right behind me. We were both single, and special feelings gradually arose between us. We started texting, getting to know each other, and found out that her family was very strict, so dating was not allowed. I briefly thought the opportunity was lost, so I gradually stopped contacting her. For a while, both Thu and I carried a subtle sadness, trying to avoid each other whenever we met. This lasted about a week until she texted me. She said she would go against her family's objections to be with me. We cried, tears of youth, filled with sincere love and the desire to be together. That was our 17-year-old love, which later led to deeper emotions. During our early days together, our relationship was very innocent. We only held hands. We dated secretly like any other couple. I also started having other social acquaintances. In 10th grade, I became friends with a guy whose older brother was in 12th grade, and I was somewhat influenced by that. At school, I wasn't overly timid. Even some seniors would sometimes take notice of our group of 10th graders. Whenever I was close to Thu, a peculiar sensation would stir within me because of her scent. Seeing Thu as a modest girl, I was shy to express those feelings. Every day, I would only dare to ask her to send pictures. Thu naively didn't know my true purpose. I started hanging out with new friends, neglecting my studies, going out to eat and drink, and trying to build connections, because at that time, I wanted everyone at school to notice me. I gradually changed for the worse, with alcohol, skipping school, and fleeting relationships. This strained my relationship with Thu. Eventually, we decided to break up gently. At that time, I wasn't truly sad, continuing my days of fun. As a result, From being a fairly good student, my grades dropped to average. My family became stricter, but the rebelliousness in me at that time seemed unyielding. In 11th grade, my class remained the same, with just a quarter of the students from class 11A6 transferring in. Thu and I remained friends, as close as if nothing had ever happened. Occasionally, I would still look at her pictures. One day in class, she was sitting at her desk and I was standing behind her talking to friends when my eyes unintentionally drifted downwards. The collar of her shirt was slightly open, revealing her fair skin and delicate shoulders. A subtle feeling stirred within me. My face flushed slightly because, having known her for so long, this was the first time I had caught a glimpse of her private charm, as Thu always dressed modestly for school or going out. That image lingered in my mind. At the end of the second semester of 11th grade, just before the final exams, on my way home from an evening with friends, I had a traffic accident. As a result, I had to stay in the hospital for half a month. Some classmates came to visit me, including Thu. The day I had the accident, when she heard the news, Thu texted and called me many times, my father told me. She cried when she saw my condition at that time. My face was swollen and bruised, and I had to undergo surgery to reset my bones. During my time in the hospital, Thu and I texted a lot. We both realized our feelings for each other were still there, so we decided to get back together. After 15 days in the hospital, I finally returned home and went back to school to study for the retake exams, as the official exams had passed and everyone else had started their summer break. I arranged to meet her after the exams. We went to a quiet hammock cafe during the summer, just the two of us sharing one hammock. Her familiar scent still evoked special feelings within me. My hand gently embraced her waist, pulling her closer for a kiss. She responded. The tender kiss made my heart flutter. That day, she wore a slightly lower-cut top, as I had mentioned, so my hand could easily reach her shoulder. My fingers gently caressed, and she subtly shivered, a soft sound escaping her lips as we shared a deep kiss, a truly tender moment. After a while, she gently pushed me away. I nestled my face against her shoulder, softly inhaling her fragrance. Suddenly, the cafe owner's voice echoed, and we quickly separated, exchanging happy smiles. Afterwards, we became more open about our deeper feelings. By 12th grade, such close moments happened more often whenever we had the chance. On afternoons with 2 classes, she would often find excuses to stay at the cafe with me instead of going home. One day, I expressed my feelings and she agreed. I stood up and she sat on the hammock, a private moment between us. Her face flushed slightly. I gently stroked her hair. A new sensation spread through the air between us. My hand softly caressed her. Just as emotions welled up, she gently recoiled. I was slightly taken aback, teased her a little, then lay down. Beside her, she snuggled close, her hand gently touching me. I quietly responded. I cradled her head with one hand, the other gently caressing her. She quietly responded. We shared gentle kisses, then ate something, rested, and prepared to return to school. Our time in 12th grade together was filled with such tender moments. The National High School graduation exam was approaching. Because the exam location and our homes were far apart, most students in our school rented rooms near the test center. I knew this was a unique opportunity. My friends and I rented a room, and Nai, Thu's close friend, also stayed in the same row of rented houses. It was all part of my plan. Before the exam day, we returned to school for the exam regulations and information. I wished for night to fall quickly so I could carry out my intentions. When night came, I took a clean shower and knocked on Thu in her friend's room. I had already spoken with Nai, so she followed the plan and said she would sleep elsewhere. I smiled at her as the door closed. Thu was wearing pajamas and looked at me asking, "It's late. Why aren't you sleeping? What are you doing here, second? Brother?" "The exam is early tomorrow." I leaned in and hugged her. "Tonight, I'm staying here. You're definitely mine." Before Thu could reply, I gave her a kiss. I gently kissed her neck down to her shoulder, my hands softly embracing her, making her quietly respond,
That feels so nice." My hands gently helped her feel more comfortable, and she was completely beside me. This was the first time I felt this complete closeness. A strong emotion welled up within me. I whispered to her, but she
gently recoiled. "Let me be! You, please don't!" I whispered to her, continuing my tender gestures. She subtly trembled, a gentle feeling spreading. I softly spoke to her, and she replied. We drew closer. She quietly said, "This isn't right, brother."
"I'm scared." I gently reassured her. "It's okay, baby." Because of the tender gestures before, she was very gentle. I knew she would agree. She nodded slightly, and I gently stayed beside her. She slightly winced. It's a little uncomfortable."
Was gentle, and a warm feeling spread between us. With the first few gentle movements, she softly moaned, making me worry the people next door would hear. "Quietly, baby. Be careful people find out." She softly replied, "Oh, honey, I don't."
No.
I was happy knowing I brought her special feelings. The closer we were, the softer she became. I gently held her, both of us feeling each other's emotions. I softly spoke to her, and she gently replied. She softly sat up beside me. The feeling was special. She gently hugged me, both tender and indescribable. I whispered to her,
Gently, please, honey," she softly said. Seeing her slightly different expression, I let her be natural. Watching her beside me, an emotion welled up. She was mine. At 18, a significant milestone. She was gentle for a while, then I gently held her. A close intimacy. After a moment, I felt, so I gently stopped. She softly chided me. "Why did you? If you do that again, I looked at her and smiled. "Sorry, Thu gave me a soft look.
After resting a bit, Thu and I cuddled again, sharing tender moments until the early hours before finally falling asleep. The next morning, I took her to the exam. She sat behind me, gently holding on to me. We both looked into the distance, lost in our thoughts about the future of our relationship. That evening, after showering, I went to her room. I heard the sound of water running in the bathroom, so I gently opened the door to surprise her. Unexpectedly, the scene before me was Nai, her roommate. A fleeting moment caught my attention. Ni softly spoke. "What are you doing here?" I quickly closed the door and went outside. That fleeting image lingered in my mind. Seeing Thu's figure in the distance, I calmed down and walked towards her. It's Sin and Skin once again. In this episode, we'll touch the most delicate corners of human emotion, where the line between desire and taboo is as thin as a breath. When the lines blur begins now,